Hello my little nightmares, welcome back to a new video 3 years later finally. So this is the doll that I left unfinished around the time when I stopped doing YouTube up until last week. I don't have all the footage, so I'm gonna try and show you today just as much as I managed to record. Here is some blue velvet, a cording thread, and I'm just stitching like two cone shapes for his headpiece, which you're gonna see in a second. Obviously his whole costume as usual was not really planned, you know, I just do things on the go, which you'll be able to see here very well if you've never seen one of my videos. So some wire, hot glue, creating a bit of bulk with this fluffy thing. I still don't know what's that called. It's like teddy bear filling, and just shoving that inside the pieces I've just sewn. You can use anything to help push that inside, so I'm just using some tweezers over there. So here is, obviously missed a lot of steps, I'm sorry about that. I've just sewn that on his head, and I'm freeing his face by cutting the extra fabric, and unfortunately I do not have the video with his face being sculpted. Sorry about that, I'm gonna try and do better. So here is his headpiece already with lots of oh my god, I forgot what these are called. I'm not gonna know a lot of terms on this video, so I'm sorry, I'm very rusty. The little beads. Here the body is done as usual, just using wire for armature, and then a lot of the teddy filling, kind of the white fluff thing, and then just sewing his clothes on the actual doll, which is my way to do clothes for my dolls. Just make sure you watch some of my previous videos, so you don't get scared about my crazy ways of doing things. I do promise they work out in the end. It's just, I don't know, I'm just having fun. I do whatever I feel. I'm trying not to be very much by the book. I can't work like that. So just hand stitching, trying to figure out his top. I'm actually recording here on my bed, which is very weird because I never record on my bed, but a lot of things weren't right around that time, so I guess things were happening. So within that first year, let me just tell you a little bit what I've done. I've actually ended up buying a cat on my first year being off YouTube. I've got Sphinx cat. She's 3 years old now. She's called Nubia. And we have opened in partnership with someone another tattoo studio in London, so we've been busy with Dowel this time, a reason being why I've been off YouTube for such a long time. Just couldn't regroup myself and yeah, just put my mind to it. Sometimes just takes a while to get back to do things as you used to. So I think here the top on the doll is not really working out, but it did in the end. I promise you'll see. Just be patient. And just sewing the sleeve up. I wasn't sure at that point if I wanted to do hands or no, but I was still working on the costume, on his outfit, I guess. These are some little triangles. I was trying to figure out if they will work out as like shoulder pieces, which I think I actually I was watching American Horror Story Hotel, where is Lady Gaga, and I think she inspired me to go for these extravagant shoulder pieces, which actually turned out so cool in the end. You'll just see in a moment. So I do think I did use some hot glue to stick them in place, and then I stitched around them. Yeah, so they are stitched around. And I think I did put inside as well some of that white fluffy thing just to hold them, to hold the shape. So yeah, here you can see the beads as well, an abundance, which I think it looks really cool, and it did make them quite sturdy. So they're not like flimsy moving around. They are very, very hard, and they hold their shape, which is kind of cool. So with the face here, as you're looking at this side of the face, this clown is mostly made with the idea for it to represent the duality we have inside of us. So both of us having a strong and kind side and a evil side, which most of the time takes over quite easily. And when we get to paint the face, I'll explain a bit more why I've done them the way I did. So here's a little collection of the beads I chose to use to embellish his bodysuit or something. What he's like a jumpsuit. So actually, I don't know why, but I wanted to do these bumps he's got on his body as a part of the outfit to kind of symbolize like a disease, which means like when your bad dark thoughts inside take over, it's almost like a disease to the body. So obviously here it's almost like the bubonic plague, like these bumps are representing disease, but obviously they're done in my style as a part of a very extravagant outfit, so they are going to be embellished with lots of shiny beads and make it look cool at the same time. So just the symbolism of it is a bit different. So acrylic paints for the face. So we're gonna start with a layer of wash made with this very watered down acrylic paint. I'm just gonna water it down to a wash. We just want to tint a little bit the face, not brown it too much. So you're gonna see here, when this dries, it'll just be like a really nice, more realistic sort of like face coloring, and a bit of you know, just a bit more life, because now it's very pink, very unrealistic. So just gently brushing that all over. That's gonna go into all the creases, which will enhance all the shapes that are being created in the clay as well. So this is the bad side, which represents a very evil smiling clown, and this is the side that if you look very closely you can see his face, but then there is marks from the fingers as if it's been like wiped down in a way, like dragged down, which means that the bad side took over the good side and it's almost tried to erase it. That's the symbolism behind. I hope you see it the way I did as well. So just adding a little bit more, like a darker tint, a darker shade, and I'm just gonna do this kind of trying to spray almost on the face to just create more realistic pigmentation of the face with like freckles and imperfections. So that's this very simple technique that works very, very well. Using red, I think we're using red and black here for the mouth and the teeth. I kind of did a bloody mouth, which again just adds to the horror-ish and maliciousness of the face that's in the back, the one that kind of hides away, but you know, it takes over easily and ruins our life and everything. So that's kind of what this symbolizes. So just very gently building up the color inside his mouth, the teeth, and on the lips. His face is very scary, but I'm so happy with it. Sorry for I'm forgetting sometimes I film and I'll get out of frame, but so his little black eyes are so creepy. I think this is actually the first face of a doll that I mean it to be horrible and demonic. Usually they look like that, but they're good characters. This is, I think, the first one that means like a bad sort of character, like a malicious one, which is all that we have, the worst in us. Like it's symbolized by this face, everything that it's the worst in humans. So for some reason I felt like a clown nose will be good for it, which obviously is, and then got carried away with clown eyes. But it's just so cool. Like a bit of clown makeup makes things always more visually nicer. I don't know, I love the clown aesthetic, although I do not like clowns in real life. So I think this is it with this face, and I'm not sure. Let's see if I show the makeup on the other one. Yep. And after that, I think I've just added a bit of epoxy resin onto the mouth to make it shiny, but that I'm not sure I've got that filmed. So just using a bit of white and yellow mix to create a bit of a highlight and kind of to enhance the teeth to stand out a little bit from the whole redness of the mouth. Yeah, so the makeup on the other one is kind of simple. I'm just kind of trying to bruise those dragging sort of shapes. So here you can see easier what I meant by someone kind of pulling his face away, like almost wiping his identity and his good side, and the bad one smiling, taking over. Yeah, so here's the resin. As usual, it's 2 parts epoxy glue. You could use a resin, I just use that because it hardens a lot quicker, and mixed with resin dye. And that kind of goes hard in like a few seconds, so there is very short working time, but usually I think about where I want to put it, and I'm kind of quick with it. That looks nice and shiny. That's very, very cool actually. So here I'm cutting some strings. I think this is for the hands. I'm not sure. I actually didn't edit this by myself, so I wasn't sure what footage I still have. Let's have a look. What was this for? Okay, so this is for the neck piece. Yeah, I think his outfit was looking a bit boring, so I decided to do this frill around his neck, which is very typical for a clown costume. And I'm just doing like a stitch and adding a bead in between, which is a small detail that you won't be able to see too much, but you can just see those little beads in between the sort of the folds. Yeah, and that goes in there. This is some thread. This is actually embroidery thread. Here you can see which one I got, which is actually really cool that I found exactly the shape and the sheen, sorry, the color, Jesus, the shade and the sheen of the fabric, which like actually is a perfect match, which doesn't happen very often when you try and match like a thread with a fabric. And here I was debating quite a lot to sculpt hands for it, and for some reason I wanted to leave him without hands, and not because hands are hard to to sculpt. You've already seen a doll that has 4 hands, so I'm not scared of that, although I don't really enjoy sculpting hands. It was more about we have in our culture something, I'm not sure if it's universal, but they say that you're sometimes when you can't do something, like your hands are tied. And I was thinking to do this at that time, to do this like long strands of fabric, and but obviously embellish it again with beads and stuff, make it still an awesome outfit despite it symbolizing not always awesome things. And I kind of left him with no hands, just this like long things hanging off of them, almost like having no hands able to help yourself. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but hopefully it does. So I've added that bead detail on his belly, if you see now. Sorry, I didn't manage to comment on that, but you'll see in the pictures at the end. And this is some blue leather. I was really lucky to actually have blue leather as well. I don't know, things just fell into place with this doll. And these are the separate pieces I cut to put the shoes together, which I do not think I have a video for. So moving on, I did this little just things hanging off of the tips of the headpiece. How do you call the headpiece? The harlequins wear. I'm not sure how you call those pointy things, the hats. Maybe they have a name. If you do know, let me know in the comments. If they don't, I guess we're just gonna call them pointy things. So here is the combination of little gems that I made to just attach to the end of them. So yeah, just very simple. Kind of went through all of these beads are glass, which I suggest if you want to use anything like that to always use glass beads and really high quality beads, because I promise you'll make all the difference compared to the plastic ones. Actually the beads are really expensive. I mainly buy them from back home when I go on holidays, because there is a shop where they stock them and they're really good quality, and they're good for price, although they are a bit pricey, to be honest. This is epoxy clay, and I think, yes, I did this to make the hearts to decorate the platform he's on, you know, as usual. I'm sorry for not showing you how I made the shoes, but actually this is the same way I made the shoes for a lot of my other dolls. So just make sure you check my playlist for other dolls if you are curious to see how I make the shoes. Using some super glue, I'm just attaching those epoxy clay faces, like broken faces and broken hearts that I did for his platform, which again symbolizes broken hearts, many faces, broken identity, lost yourself, you know, just all just the symbolism of losing your good side and having a hard time. And here is the trick that I sometimes use when I need to sew quite a few beads, is I'm just gonna put a sticker on my finger, dip it into the beads, they kind of get attached, and then it's easier to just pick one and you don't need to go back into the box to get another little bead each time. Makes things a bit easier. When you need to sew like 3,000 beads on a doll, you come up with tricks like this. Let me know if you're gonna try it. I'm not sure where I've seen it, or I don't know how I came to that, but it helps me. So if you do try it and it makes life easier, make sure you let me know. So here are just a few last details with the hands. I kind of wanted for those strings to look a bit more interesting, so, and to give more the idea of his hands being tied almost, in not being able to help himself. So this is how our little guy looks towards the end. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm really happy to share this doll with you finally. Honestly, I've been looking at it for 3 years and I'm so glad it's finally here. Do let me know in the comments, what do you think? This is the second clown doll I've made, and I think we still need to make a girl one. It's only boys. Thank you guys so much. Say hi in the comments and I'll see you very soon in another video. Bye.